I'll get into it. Look, the Geelong Botanic Gardens has recognised heritage value, particularly for the tree collection and the avenues. It's on the Victorian Heritage Register, and the site, our site, is in close proximity to an avenue of peppercorns, which are 100 years old or more. The overarching idea for the project is to provide unconstrained views to the surrounding gardens, and particularly the camellia lawns, and provide a catalyst for future expansion for the Botanic Gardens. And we should note that the Geelong City Council is a city of design, UNESCO City of Design, and that's obviously very important to this project. You can see in this 1930s picture, there is an avenue of peppercorns running through there where my hand is there. And that's effectively where the site is. And it's outside the gardens proper. And I mentioned before that it's an opportunity for the gardens to expand. At the moment, there are very few places for shelter at the gardens, and there's a couple of examples here. The building on the left, the structure on the left, was relocated from the Melbourne Botanic Gardens when they built a new one, and there's some sort of shack that's been built on the right there. So there's a huge need for shelter. There's also a huge need for decent quality amenities, and you can see on the left-hand side there, on the bottom left, there's some toilets in the area that our site is, which quite frankly are not up to speed. I'll just see if I can get rid of this. How do I do that? There you go. There we go. You can get an idea of that Peppercorn Avenue on the top right-hand side there, and this is the site. This is our site. And whilst the trees are quite small, they've been around for over 100 years. It's just they're in a very exposed position. I guess that sort of that underlying idea of vision out is shown in this particular image, where there's, I guess, a column-free environment there. This plan here shows the location of the visitor centre, and as I mentioned before, it's on the edge of the gardens facing the camellia lawns. And this is the Peppercorn promenade there, which is of particular significance and one that is obviously governed by Heritage Victoria. Here's a view looking out, so really to show that this project is about the gardens and not necessarily about the structure. In terms of the relationship of the building to the context, we've looked at using limited palleted materials. There's timber there, some of it which is reclaimed from trees on the site, and zinc. So very simple palleted materials. And this is what we would refer to as the, I guess, the not the back side, but the side that doesn't face the gardens there. Now it's not scrolling through. I mentioned that there's a really important function of the building to provide modern amenities for the public, where there is limited opportunities at the moment, and you can see those on the left-hand side of the plan. And these are, I guess, easy to access, but a little bit private in they're facing the opposite way to the main pavilion, and they can be accessed from the camellia lawn side plus the gardens proper. And this elliptical shaped gathering space is as big as we could make it within the budget, basically, and it's big enough for about 90 people in a gathering, and can be used by weddings, various functions, and just a bit of weather protection as well. And here's a picture of someone playing some music there. It's not a picture from a professional photographer, but it shows it's being used in the intended function. One of the key, I guess, integrations with allied disciplines was with the structural engineer. And you can imagine that with a building such as this, it's fairly simple in nature and it doesn't have a lot of complex technologies within it, which is good. But in order to achieve, I guess, this uninterrupted views, we did, and protection, we did sort of need to work very closely with our engineer to achieve an economical and rational structural solution, which in turn helped sort of, I guess, articulate a bit of a form on the underside, the soffit, the ceiling of the pavilion. So you can see there, it's relatively straightforward with a major truss running through the guts, and then some smaller structural elements supporting the roof. And this is one where it's finished. So you do actually see that crease line, call it a crease line, running through the centre. But it does allow for this quite a large cantilever, actually done quite simply there. And I guess the benefit is that it did end up being a very cost-effective solution. Rather than, you can imagine, doing a massive portal with huge cantilevers, it would be very expensive and very difficult to do. So it's a balanced structure over that central truss. And just in terms of that cost value outcome, it did come in under budget, which is good. And we think there's some great value in that they did fulfill the function.
1 minute.
1 minute, sustainability. Well, look, I did mention a couple of things about the materials. It really is it's a very easy on the carbon. It's got a low carbon footprint. There's not a lot of power that's used. There's a few lights. It uses recycled water from water that's stored on the site. And of course, we've reused some of the trees there. In terms of meeting the needs of the client, we obviously meet the needs through providing good, modern, accessible amenities, as well as a very multifunctional space that can be used for weddings, tours, education, and basic shelter, which there's a great lack of at the moment. And the other thing that was important, that it did integrate and was recessive with the landscape. Thank you.